I do want to go back to that debate with James O'Keefe, Tulsi Gabbard, and Tim Pool to make two quick points about it. So the first has to do with O'Keefe himself. I think we have like a clip, like maybe 3 or 4 minutes from the debate itself.
Ben, how does Jacobin approach these problems?
Yeah, I mean, Jacobin is a independent, meaningfully independent organization. It's not beholden to wealthy investors or stockholders or big donors. So yeah, it actually does use its platform to shine a light on things that genuinely powerful people do. So it does actually, if you read like the kinds of things that Branko Marcetic, for example, has been writing there about the war in Ukraine and about tech censorship, he's much more of a, he's much more of a journalist. I'm much more of a, columnist and polemicist. But I think that he's been doing really exemplary work that he can do because of that. And of course, I do agree. Right, I do agree with Tim that that there are certain standards of factual accuracy that you should absolutely not sacrifice for the sake of what your ideological preferences are. Right, you need to tell it like it is and then make your argument. But I do also feel good. Right, I feel a lot better being associated with the kind of media organization that actually is interested in taking on the most powerful people in our society.
Like the FBI?
Yes, for example, yeah. That is interested in taking on the most powerful people in society rather than acting as gutter-level snitches to surveil working-class people and try to get them fired.
I'm going to bring it to you. Ben, do you think that, so you just made an insinuation about big donors with Project Veritas. Yes.
Well, I mean, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Well, do you not have donors?
Do you think that was a fair insinuation? Do you actually think that James is subject
if
to
not,
donors?
I mean, the man himself is here. He can tell us. Do you not have donors, James? Because like a lot of that website reads to me, maybe this is wrong, but a lot of it screams to me laid out to show donors what they're getting. So for example, that Teachers Union Gone Wild series, if you look at that on the Project Veritas website, there is a little description of the setup. There's some embedded videos, and then there's a subheading called results, which again, a lot of times organizations that are very concerned with proving to donors their money won't be wasted will do something like this on their website. In that case, by the way, what the results page brags about is the weakening of tenure protections to make it easier to fire people, which of course, yeah, clap for that, which of course, if you care about free speech, is exactly the opposite of what you'd want.
May I, when you first started talking, you made a statement of fact that was factually and legally untrue. And I think you said that we are beholden to donors, and you kind of grimaced at me and smirked at me, obviously referring to Project Veritas being, quote, I have the video. We have an entire audience of people. And you said that I am...
James, I just gave you the opportunity to correct me
you're the
if my impression is wrong. Are you going to correct me or not?
Ben, please let James
Please let me just finish a sentence, please. You said that I'm beholden, quote, it's a direct quote, we have it on video, beholden to donors. That is factually and legally untrue. No donor has ever, and I would swear to it under oath, told me what to do, and yet on this stage in front of all these people in New York City,
oh my God,
you just made a statement of fact. So in a world where you can say that, I've never offered conjecture or characterization in our reports, but you did that right here on a panel about media manipulation. We have nearly 100,000 people who give money to our foundation so that I can be independent.
All right. So if you think that anybody who listened to that or watched it thinks they heard an answer to the question about whether they have they're reliant on wealthy donors, presumably that answer was implied And well, we have 100,000 people who've donated to us. Maybe so, right? Maybe they do have 100,000 people. I would like to know the percentage of the cash that they have that comes from, say, the top 100 of those 100,000 people versus the bottom 9,900, or even the top 10 of those people versus the bottom 900, 900,000, 999, and 90. And I did look into this afterwards. I was like, oh my God, have I unfairly maligned James O'Keefe? Does he not, in fact, have a bunch of super wealthy donors? And I looked into this, and I gave most of these stories you're about to see, and the article that I had out of Jacobin today, which is called like James O'Keefe doesn't care about free speech. James O'Keefe doesn't care about free speech just came out this morning. So if you look at that article, I hyperlinked a bunch of this stuff there, but let's just run through it really quickly just for fun. So this is from The Hill. Not a very left-wing source. Says conservative donor Mercer donated to O'Keefe projects. Next, Project Veritas received $1.7 million last year from charity associated with the Koch brothers. Next, the Koch brothers and Robert Mercer bankrolled right-wing firm Project Veritas. Next, Dark Money GOP fund funneled millions of dollars to groups that pushed voter fraud claims. I believe that one's another Koch connection that they established something called the Donor Network to basically provide some level of anonymity for Koch-funded projects.
I think launder's the word you're looking for.
Perhaps. Next, so this is from a group called that it has it goes through a bunch of there we go. The Donors Trust and Donors Capital Fund. Those are two of those Koch fund arms. And finally, I do want to say, I do want to take responsibility, own my L's here. That I did have a major, journalistic failing in that Jacobin article, which is that I didn't mention or have a hyperlink to the money that we've got in our final graphic, which is the money. This is way back at the beginning of Project Veritas that James O'Keefe got from one Peter Thiel. So again, I don't know what the average donation was, those 100,000 people, but I'm going to guess Peter probably coughed up more than them. Like, and to be fair, this wasn't one of Peter Thiel's biggest donations by a long shot. I think he gave him like a few tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, he probably found that in his couch. But I would guess that, there are at least, say, 950,000 of those, like that or there are at least, 95,000, right, of those 100,000 donors who did not, in fact, have tens of thousands of dollars to donate. I don't know what the biggest contribution you guys ever gave a political organization is, but I'm guessing less than that.
I gave $100,000 to Chapo Trap House. I just thought they didn't have enough money, so their Patreon needed yeah. Unfortunately, most of us can barely scrounge together like $15-20 a month, right?
Yeah.
So.
And sometimes it's just I'm making art because I can't do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And I should say too that the other respect to which James is playing dumb here is that he's saying, "Oh, beholden to big donors," you must mean that somebody's getting on the phone and telling me, "Hey, I'm from the Mercer family. I'm from the Koch family. I'm from whichever dark money conservative organization. I need you to do this specific thing or not do that specific thing." But that's not how that works, right? I mean, as in fact, I believe our good friend and comrade and collaborator Jason Miles actually yelled out from the audience in one of his attempts at counter heckling that extremely hostile crowd. That's not how donors work, right? You don't need to make the call, right? I mean, maybe you do, but I mean, generally speaking, right? Something's gone wrong if you've gotten to that point, right? I think if you're getting dump trucks full of cash from the Mercer family and the Koch brothers, or now just the one Koch brother, or these Peter Thiel, right? Then you generally know what's going to make them happy, right? They don't have to call you. You know, like, hey, like, you know what's going to keep the money coming, and you know what's going to stop the money in a hurry. And so, I think if he was sending his little hidden cameras into, like meetings where Starbucks managers were plotting out, union busting strategy, for example, or some meeting, at the Defense Department of the CIA where they're talking about drone strikes, I think that the money would stop in a hurry, right? Like Palantir, money man, Peter Thiel wouldn't be donating to that.
You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive postgames on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.